Over the years, I've learned to deal with a whale of a lot. This time, it's the disposal and the flood that occurred underneath the sink. So the doors have to be left open with the fan on, and I've got this pile of junk on my floor. Kitty's helping me clean the cutting board to cut some chicken up on there. Well, 2 or 3 years ago, it was the refrigerator that went out 2 days before Thanksgiving during the supply chain issues at the end of COVID. I needed a refrigerator that day because I had to go shopping on Wednesday because I had to throw out all of my food. This year, 2 days before Christmas, the igniter went out on my stove that's 7 years old. That's the second time the igniter's gone out. I keep a spare igniter in the bottom drawer now. Our all-time most challenging was March of 2003. Look it up. In the little town of Evergreen, we got well over 6 feet of snow that fell constantly in about a 2.5 day period. Our electricity was out for 6 days, and we managed to eat quite well, thank you very much. So we had a change of menu, and I'm going to show you what I can cook without going to too much trouble. As a matter of fact, I started thinking about it. I had one of those families that liked to camp and backpack and rough it and take care of yourself, and I grew up to raise a Boy Scout, and so I know how to do things. I could do this not only on a camp out, I could do this on a backpacking camp out and have a perfectly good soup. This is not what I was going to make tonight, but I figured this is about as rough as it's going to get around here. 1 pot meal, that's what you need if you're roughing it. I happen to have some chicken broth. Gee whiz. Where'd that come from? Now, the other thing that happened was because I spent my time cleaning and I don't have that much room in my kitchen while I'm waiting for everything to dry out, I was going to go to the grocery store today. So I have to cook with what I have around the house because I can't bring any more food into my house until we get this problem taken care of. The disposal's been replaced, but the drying has not completely occurred. So here's our chicken broth that I made from my rotisserie chicken. I'm going to make a Southwest-inspired vegetable soup. It's a chicken and vegetable soup. I'm going to put in some black beans. You could put in pinto beans. You could put in red beans. Anything. You could even use dried beans if you were backpacking and wanted to keep your fire going. You could put it the night before, and then the next morning you'd wake up and you'd have cooked beans. I know how to backpack. This is the one thing, I'm sure the backpacking store would have something. This is a jalapeno. I could cut up an onion. I actually have onions. I could do that, but I want to show you what I would do if I were backpacking. These are dehydrated onions, and they smell wonderful, believe it or not. So there are my onions. Here are my spices. That's salt, cumin, chili powder, and a little dried garlic. That fits in the backpack. On my list today was canned tomatoes. If I were making this at home, I'd just reach for a canned tomato. But I had tomatoes, no canned tomatoes, so I'm using fresh tomatoes. But you can get dried tomatoes. You might say, but nobody's going to take chicken broth in their backpack. Well, there are these little things called bouillon cubes. They're not the tastiest thing on the face of the earth, but let me tell you, if you've cooked it over the fire, you're sitting on a rock eating it after you've hauled it up the mountain, this soup's going to taste wonderful. So you can get them in chicken-flavored bouillon cubes, backpacker's favorite friend. You can also, at the backpacking store, get all kinds of dried vegetables. But instead of dried vegetables today, I'm using frozen vegetables. So since it's a Southwest and we've got some beans, I'm throwing in some corn. And to make it a vegetable soup, I'm using my old friend, my frozen stir-fry vegetables. We're going to have stir boil. So there is my soup. I know they have dehydrated beans, they have dehydrated carrots. You can get whatever you want at the backpacking store. It's all about the spices. And I guess you might have to, if you can't find a dehydrated jalapeno, I guess you might have to sneak a little tiny jalapeno in your backpack. Now you could put rice in there, but I don't think so. As a matter of fact, I'm making this pot and I don't think we'll have enough people to eat it up, so I'm actually making this to stick in the freezer, and I don't want to put rice. I have not put any chicken in, you've noticed. This is all the chicken I have left, so that's only about a little over a cup of chicken. But you know, I've got all those vegetables, it doesn't matter. Chicken was on the list of things to buy at the grocery store today, but I'm making do. Here is my chicken catastrophe vegetable soup. Soon as the vegetables are boiling, I'll throw in the chicken and we'll have a tasty dinner. The soup's boiling, all the vegetables are cooked. I'm gonna add my chicken. Now if you're thinking, oh, couldn't take that on a backpacking trip. Well, they sell pouches with chicken in it, in a little aluminum pouch kind of a thing. You can make your chicken soup with that. I'm gonna turn the heat off. That is ready to eat. I don't want to cook the chicken. I don't like overcooked chicken. So there it is. A healthy Southwestern style inspired chicken vegetable soup with the carbohydrates, healthy carbohydrates from black beans and corns, lots of vegetables, super healthy and delicious. And this can be served with a little grated cheese on the top, a little avocado. That's the advantage of being at home. I don't want to take an avocado on a backpacking trip. Anyway, this is one that is a standard food in our household. This probably gets made, I'd say, every 2 or 3 weeks because I always have the ingredients. Super quick, super healthy, and very delicious. And it freezes well, and frankly, this is how my son made it through college, was containers of frozen Southwest vegetable soup. Hope you give it a try, and maybe try it on a backpacking trip. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.